Yes, and this again breaks down stigmas and normalises it. So, and you mentioned just now projects in the north, which brings me on to the next point, the New Perspectives project in Kukës. Now, I saw a fascinating thread on Twitter about this underground sort of city network of tunnels and bunkers, which I definitely want to try and go to. It sounds really interesting, but how the British Embassy is involved in a project which aims to encourage economic growth and tourism and provide opportunities in this part of the country, which has been rather depopulated. Tell me about this project.
So the British government focuses on the whole of Albania. We obviously want to see Albania successful and all Albanians successful. But I think everyone is aware that actually there has generally been an underinvestment in the north. And that's one of the reasons why actually now we have such a close connection between the UK and Albania through the communities that we have in the UK. We have hundreds of thousands of Albanians in the UK living there legally, contributing to British society, but many of them hail from the north, particularly the Kukës and Dibra regions. But we want to look at the whole of the north and really support economic development. Now, one of the ways for that actually is to look at some of the really amazing, extraordinary assets that the north has. Now, obviously, we're aware of the wonderful, beautiful mountains, the rivers. I think there's a lot of tourism potential, the agriculture, the chestnuts, the fruit.
It's my favourite part of Albania.
And I think some commentators have actually said that, of course, the coast is a wonderful asset for future tourism for Albania. The mountains are
because it's all year round. You can go there all year round and enjoy such a variety of things, whereas the coast is seasonal, really, unless you're very brave.
And then those of us who come from overseas, one of the things we learn is the unusual aspect of 173,000 bunkers around Albania. But I hadn't realised until people showed me that there is this entire city underground in Kukës, and that is a very interesting asset which is not yet exploited. It's been neglected, but actually in discussion with the municipality, we agreed that actually we would use some of our Ministry of Defence and military surveyors to come out and help survey this network of underground tunnels, because of course we need the map of it. And it goes down really deep. It has an underground hospital, a bakery, all sorts of other things that used to be there. And actually, I think this can be used in a number of different ways. Now, it will be for the municipality, the government of Albania, to decide how to do this. So whether there is further support we do, I suspect our British and NATO militaries might enjoy playing around in tunnels and actually exercising properly how to do operations underground, but whether they decide to do that. But otherwise, economically, I think the development in terms of tourism could have huge opportunities. It will be a unique thing.
Yes. Is it bigger than the underground complex Bunker 1 in Tirana?
Oh, massively.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I mean, that is quite a number of tunnels and corridors, but actually this is a whole underground city.
Is it possible to visit? Like, I'd like to put this in my book that I'm writing,
We could definitely take that forward separately and see how to do it, because, I mean, at the moment it's only at the early mapping stage, but we're committed to continuing that, and I discussed it with the Chief of Defence and others recently, so it will be an ongoing effort over the coming year.
This is so interesting. I wonder how many other hidden, secret, forgotten sites there are in Albania that we're yet to realise the potential of. Okay, so, but what else in Kukës? What other sort of initiatives? You mentioned Dibra as well. Are you working on in the north, aside from this? I've seen lots of posts on Facebook over the last year in particular in this region.
So there are some things that we're doing directly through the programme support we're giving to communities in the north. And the aim there is obviously to help provide skills, job opportunities, grow the business environment there, attract people to the region, whether to visit, to study, to work, obviously starting from a low base. And then there are also things where we can encourage other partners to join in as well. Already, we've been able to set up a number of centres. There are now youth entrepreneurship spaces. We've opened one in Kukës. There'll be others opening in the rest of Kukës region in Dibra, and we'll look at how we can support that so that young people have spaces where they can discuss these issues, find out information about what job opportunities are available, what are their different life choices. We're also launching programs with schools through the British Council. We've done a lot previously on coding skills, problem solving, critical thinking. We're looking at how we can expand those in the north with schools across the region. We're also providing grants for businesses, small businesses, so that individuals can start up businesses and then employ people. And we've already provided around 50 grants and more to come. Obviously, that takes time to grow the sort of ecosystem for businesses to flourish, but that's going to be really crucial if then Albania is going to exploit not just tourism and agriculture, but also services, whether it's pharmacies, whether it's small shops, other ways of actually boosting the business environment in the region. We're also looking at coaching and mentoring for young people, how to then approach the sort of life skills that we all need to be successful. And already we've provided support to about 225 young people, and also on the micro business mentoring, and another 585 young people from coaching and mentoring will benefit by March this coming year.
My question was going to be, how have people responded to it? But from the figures you've just mentioned, it seems that people are very receptive to this kind of project and initiative.
So it's really interesting. I think I've gone around the north, as you'll have seen, and I'm sure you have too, and met lots of young people, and it's always inspiring. And I find when you talk to school children, university students, you hear the wonderful aspirations that young people have. One of the things I find in the north is actually up to a certain age, maybe around 12 or 13, you have the same sort of aspirations as most youngsters. A little bit older, and many of them that get sucked into this aspect of people in the UK say, why don't you come here? Sometimes seeing the TikTok videos that have been out there showing a misrepresentation of the realities and pulling people in. And this is where then the problem of illegal migration has come up. And that's one of the reasons that we're investing particularly in the north, is that we see that youngsters are being exploited by traffickers. And so as well as the joint work, and we can come back to that, we've just had the Interior Minister in London, the joint work we're doing on law enforcement and collaborating to really crack down on the trafficking networks and the criminal gangs. We need to support young people so they have alternatives, but also to help them understand that what they're seeing being portrayed is not the reality. We're also seeing a lot of youngsters coming back. If you go illegally, basically, you will be back here before you know it. So over 4,600 people have been returned so far since the joint communique we signed a year ago. But also the numbers have really come down, as you probably know. So I'm really pleased that we're now 90% down compared to the 12,000 or more Albanians who went last year, under 1,000 this year. But still, anyone going illegally is subjecting themselves to a real difficult situation. And my appeal to any youngster, any family member who sees that someone might be considering going illegally is don't. We also have legal options for going to the UK to study, to work. We've even opened a visa application centre in the north to make it easier for people to go and to show that the UK is open to business. But people should use those legal routes. We've also opened up new opportunities. So, for example, in construction, we've actually got now a special route for anyone around the world, but Albanians can benefit particularly because, as you may know, many of the businesses in the UK dealing with construction are now Albanian run. And actually, this is a real positive. Albanians have become the best construction workers, decorators, plumbers, others, and are really filling an essential part of the UK market. So our message is twofold. If you're going to go legally, use these opportunities that exist. But if you see opportunities in Albania, use those. There are some wonderful opportunities to study and work, and we will be there with you. We've also launched a British Business Chamber, and they've also already sponsored a number of scholarships here in Albania, and we want to see more scholarships. We want to see businesses providing scholarships, providing internships as well.